and see which ones of the products sold at the rates. For instance, here you can see that Able sold almost 1,000 units last year. Acre sold almost 17 and a half or so. So Acre does go into overtime, and it sold in overtime. Okay, your low selling segment is selling volume, and it can't do its volume without going into overtime. Last year it sold 1,700 units, and it can only make 1,381 without going into overtime. So if you really want to make sure you're not going into overtime very much, you need to increase capacity for the things that you know already will for sure use overtime. So for instance, if we were to do that, now we've broken our budget. Alright, so maybe, yeah, this is a decision you have to make as doing this. Maybe it's more important for us to put any increased capacity into a product that we already know needs it, because it's already selling more than this and having to go into overtime. Or maybe it's more important to put it into a product with a higher contribution margin. Because while Acre is selling, 400 or so more than it can make in the first shift, it's also got a lower contribution margin than Atom, which is about maxed at what it can produce. So you'll have to make the decisions on your own and decide what's most important, and figure out where you want to put your investment. Try not to go over this amount. You see, your max investment is the capital expenditures that are limited to the amount of money that can be raised through stock and bond issues, plus excess working capital, and any working capital minus 90 days of sale, less any dividend that is paid. I'm not even sure if it would be possible to do it. We can check it real quick and see if the system freaks out or not if I push it over too high. And what does it do? Okay, it says basically we broke the bank. I don't even know. Let me check finance real quick. If I can do loan amounts that would cover that. Let me see. For instance, I could issue out some stock, and let me see. And then we can borrow. Let's see. Like looking at our we can issue some bonds. So to make sure that if it has to come to doing it, if I could cover for it, or if the system won't allow me to do it. Let me go in here and see if it'll let me. Not that I want to put it this high, obviously. Now let me see where it's going to max me out. I really don't want to take on 36% long-term debt, but it looks like it's going to let me take on whatever I want. Okay, So if I wanted to make the earnings per share actually negative, then we could actually do that. Okay, well, the good thing to find out about that was basically I do have a lot of control with the money. No, I do not want really have to do that. So if you can please keep expenses under this amount, that would be ideal. So let's say, for instance, that I take that back off and just go back down to a normal amount. Then I can go and I can make the finances more realistic. And like, for instance, if I see that he's made changes in the workforce and I'm going to need 60 less people, then I can come into HR and I could say, okay, well, look, next year we're going to need less people. So, there's not really anything that I can edit in here. It's mostly just something to look at. And then finance, I can take these back down to normal levels. So, not to worry. This stuff is something that I do okay with. So if y'all are comfortable with production, you're comfortable with marketing, and you're comfortable with R&D, then we all know our roles, and everybody knows how to get to where we need to go. The important thing is going to be to make sure that when R&D is finished, you make sure that Bruce, you let Paul know that it's his turn. Similarly, let's keep passing the torch when marketing is done. Make sure everybody knows so that Mark can pick up on production. And then when he's done, you can let me know so I can go in and balance out finance. If you don't like stuff you've entered, do what I'm going to do now, which is undo to official decision right here. And that gets rid of all the junk that I've entered in. And undo to official decisions. And here. I don't know if it undoes each one or if I have to do each page. So I'm going to do each page anyway. Okay. So at this point, before we've done anything, this is exciting. Our very first thing that we're seeing is that our company is basically in the red to begin with. Our earnings per share, we are losing a penny. And so that is our starting position. And that's because of the expenses from R&D are showing, but no other changes are showing yet. So since Bruce has lagged in his decisions, Paul's next of marketing, and then let's just keep this cycle going. Make sure to use this stuff. It is awesome. It's very useful. Your industry conditions report is super helpful because it shows you where the map is moving. It shows you the trends. Again, top left to bottom right is the general slide. And we're seeing they even have segment centers here suggesting the different rounds and how things have changed. So here we're seeing that it may even be giving you hints right here for how to handle the rounds. So let's go ahead and call this video over, and hopefully this has answered any questions that you may have had if you were not comfortable with the simulation. When you are done entering your numbers, so let's say I have the screen up. Let's say I've entered in numbers, all of these areas. Come in here, go to File, Update Official Decisions. If you're not sure, save draft, and then when you're ready, update official decisions. After you hit update official decisions, let everybody know, and the next person in line will pick up the decision making process. And then when the round is over, we'll be able to look at everything and see how we did. So for now, I'm gonna get out of here and get back to the main page and get out of this video. Alright, thanks guys. Hopefully this was helpful.